Hello everybody, it's Gigi. Welcome to the third video in the Spiritual Myths series. I will be bringing on Craig Wenaweezer, my partner in crime with spiritual teachings. I see Craig. Hey Craig. Alright, so Craig is today in the Spiritual Myths series. I am in Arizona. I am in a park here. Hey Craig, showing them around the park here in Arizona by the Grand Canyon. So we're gonna check the Grand Canyon out. Can I hear you? I don't think I could hear you. I think put your headset in. Do you have some headphones? Can't hear you. Hey Kalima, hey Jack, hey Cal, hey Danny. So we're going to be talking about the spiritual myths today. Of one of the biggest ones that we've had to deal with is you are not your body, right? So between Craig and I, we have about 30 years of spiritual experience and understanding, and we really want to break this down for you guys. So Craig is going to go get his headphones. So what I want for me personally to start off is the reason why I do this is because I myself was stuck so much in these spiritual myths, one of them being you are not your body. So what that spiritual myth has done for me in the past, because I misunderstood it so much, is negation. I negated that this body was important, right? So what that meant was, even though I was buying my organic foods, yep, we hear you now, Craig. Even though I was
Okay, you
buying
can hear me?
organic food, yep, and shopping for great supplements and things like that, I wasn't really taking care of the body the way that I needed to take care of the body. And the way that I justified that was through the teaching that kept coming over and over again from Ramana Maharshi or Nisargadatta, and other non-dual teachers, which bless their heart. I remember talking to you, Craig, about this, where we were talking about, well, why do they do that? Why do they say this so much? And they teach these teachings to people who, there's a reason. That the reason is they want people to start understanding that they are not just their body. They are not just their thoughts. They are not just their emotions. And so to take people from one extreme being complete materialism, complete attachment to this body, to my wealth, to my material well-being, and to take them to a space where they start disattaching to all of those things, there is that need to have a very revolutionary teaching. And the revolutionary teaching was, I am not my body. Okay? But we don't need that revolutionary teaching anymore, because we are these, this new tribe that's coming in. I call the tribe of many colors. We come from many races, from many parts of the world, from many different spiritual understandings. And now what we're understanding as this tribe of many colors is spirituality and truth is a paradox, meaning if I am not my body, it is also true that I am my body, right? It is also true that I need to take care of this body, that this body is here for a sacred reason, so that I can individuate through it, so that I can feel myself as a Gigi talking to Mike Leprieve, Chelsea Rustrom, who just joined, Svetlana, Jason, Danny, and I could talk to Craig and bring him on, and we could have this individuated experience. And to have this individuated experience is to hold this body as sacred, is to hold this tree as sacred, to hold this life as sacred. And so what I'm calling for is, let's stop being so incredibly dramatic. We don't need to be so dramatic anymore in our understanding. We now know that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And as Craig and I love to, the foundation of our teachings, Craig, is that we are human, and that's beautiful, and that we embrace that instead of trying to negate it and trying to push it down or make it go away.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is such a key foundation of the teachings. And the way I look at it is, we talk about this a lot. It's like I think the fundamental misunderstanding is based in this kind of misperception of Eastern teachings where they speak of the transcendent state as the state of oneness beyond the body, state of spirit beyond the body. As like the kind of final end all thing, right? We're going to sit in meditation and attain nirvana or samadhi or this transcendental state that is outside of the body. And although, like you said, there's a reason why that teaching is emphasized in order for us to awaken to our eternal nature. The second part, the second movement back into the body and back into this like vibrant, alive human experience is a part that is not talked about, and it's been lost in translation. And so, yeah, we're all about this is where we are. We are in a movement of spirit back through us into the body, into ourselves, into our aliveness, into our expression, into our creativity, into our sexuality. And we come into that what non-duality really means, which is what you said, Gigi, living this alive, dynamic paradox of oneness and individuation in the moment, right? There's no division between it. We all come from source, and yet we're living these very unique expressions. This from Dijon. Dijon, get on Facebook Live. So anyway, that's it's all about coming into to ultimately like the joy of being in human expression, right? I mean, for many kind of teachings focus on the suffering of the human. The Buddha talked about saying suffering is an essential element to our development and awakening and growth. But I think it is important, not more important, to focus on like the joy of human, right? The aliveness of being human, and how the suffering of life, uh, again, toxically interplay, in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like one of our favorite books together is Yogananda Teachings, what is Autobiography of a Yogi.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to use that book because the stories are so out there, right? The stories of these yogis who were able to survive on nothing. They were
Right.
able to breathe in the sun, right? They were breatharians. And I like to bring this up to all of us, to all of these sweethearts that are with us right now, watching this now or watching it later, and say that, yes, these mystical stories are incredible. These mystical stories inspire us. They get us to start moving. They get us to start wanting to be on a spiritual path. But I'm the warning from me, from my own experience, from my own negating my own body and not taking care of it the way that I should have, is the point is not to deny the body. If you are able to get to the yogic, position where you are able to just be a breatharian, or where you're able to eat very minimal food, then all of that stuff must be done with complete care for the body. It must be done in a way where you have complete and great training, where you are moving through that. It cannot be haphazard, wishful thinking. So we think, if my intention or if my deepest knowing is that I am spirit and I am not this body, then I could go on in life and act as if I don't have this body. But that is
Mm-hmm.
it's just a thought, and it's not taking care of this body. So yes, you might have this intention that you're going to live a more expanded life, but again, what that does is it causes a duality. It causes a duality of, I'm going to live an expanded life versus living and being okay with being in this body. And once we create that duality, there's that negative charge. And through the teachings, what we're trying to do is not need to be in any duality whatsoever, is to be completely okay and neutral within both. Completely okay with being in this body, completely
Mm-hmm.
okay with being in this world. And there was a moment where I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision, a serious decision that was like, I choose to be here. And I
Hmm.
think a lot of us indigo children, a lot of us crystal children, a lot of us that come from this tribe of people who are waking up have, most of us, not all of us, most of us have a really hard time wanting to be here, wanting to be in
Hmm.
this body. And that is why we resonate so much with the spiritual teaching that is, you are not your body. Because, yeah, that makes so much more sense. It feels so much more right that I am not this body, because a lot of us do have this incredible ease with being expanded, with being vast, with being spacious. It is not
Hmm.
very easy for us to actually be in our bodies. That does not mean you should reject your body. Does not mean that you should run away from your body. It should be more of a meditation on how how is it today? Can I open my heart just a little bit more to being here on this planet, to being here in this body, to taking care of those 3 meals a day, to take care of the water that I need to drink, to take care of the nutrients that I need to put in my body, to take care of the exercise that the body needs. And for a lot of us, again, that are very, very spiritual, it's hard to deal with all of these things. There's just so many things that the body needs. But that is where the meditation is. The meditation is how how can I bring more joy? How can I reroute my thoughts? How can I make the unfamiliar, which is the unfamiliar would be, I love my body. I love taking care of my body. My body is safe. I love feeding you. I love giving you what you need. How can we start making this unfamiliar way more familiar is by doing that. Reroute your thoughts like a navigation system and start saying different things to yourself. At least that's what's helped for me. Do you have any personal stories of
Hmm.
your own?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I wanted to mention that's really important is this element of feeling, starting to feel safe in your body. I think before you can start to really access the aliveness and feeling good, you first have to feel safe. And many of us have been through, some significant wounding and various traumas that have left us not feeling safe and okay in our bodies. And so I think the first step is to, and it's a process of like dropping in and using the breath, starting to slowly just feel your legs and feet and your connection to the earth. Because a lot of times we get activated in some traumatic way and we're really up here. Our nervous system is activated and we end up being in our thoughts and kind of dissociating. And so one of the first steps in starting to feel more safe in the body is just breathing into some discomfort, right? We talk a lot about the fact that the first thing that happens when we start to feel into our body is there's a lot there. There's anxiety and there's discomfort and there's some, very uncomfortable feelings and energy often. And so just, to slowly enter it back into the body with your breath, feeling into the earth, allowing like the earth's energy and your connection to the earth to be supportive in that process. It's kind of like dipping your toe into a pool, right? It's like we're not going to jump in all at once. We're going to slowly wade in to this space in order to make it safe again. So, and that my experience early on was I had my big, giant, transcendent spiritual experiences, and then I got totally into the mental realms and into my, spiritual study and philosophy. And I didn't have any idea how disconnected I was from my body until many years on the path, because I finally started to come down from that like place of like, oh my God, the vastness and the different realms, the causal realms and different realms of thought. And I started to realize I was like, I'm not even aware of my legs. On a very basic level, that was a big indicator for me. Like I don't even have any of my awareness during my day in my feet and on the ground. And so I started a very simple practice of just like checking in with my legs and like, am I aware in my legs? Do I feel my feet on the ground? And it seems so simple, but that was absolutely transformative for me to start to just check in throughout the day with my breathing, with my legs, feeling the connection to the earth. And over time, a real vibrancy has grown in that way. And now I'm a therapist, and now when I sit with clients, I always have awareness in my body and awareness in my legs as I'm holding space for them. And what starts to build up is this, like I said, this kind of vibrant aliveness. But it first takes you becoming aware of when and how often we're not even present in these beautiful, these beautiful temples of ours. So. And I'd like to, as we always do with these Facebook Lives, Gigi, I would love to, if it's okay with you, to actually drop in for a couple of minutes and make this theoretical discussion we're having very experiential. Are you cool with
Yeah.
that? Okay, cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank
So on that note, those who are watching right now, let's all actually drop in, and if you feel comfortable, close your eyes, take a couple of deep breaths. And wherever you're at, just allowing yourself to just settle in a little bit. Settle into this moment, feel into your body, and just bringing some awareness to your breath. Just feeling the sensation of your breathing. And just being with the breath is the most immediate and powerful form of meditation. Just feeling the sensation of breathing. And bringing awareness to your legs as well, your legs and feet, and really noticing that point of contact with your feet and the ground, and even wiggling your toes a bit. You can kind of gently, rotate your ankles, tense and release some of your, calf muscles and your knees, thighs, just really focusing on your legs, bringing awareness to your presence in your legs. Starting to feel into the alive energy that's present in your body. And noticing the ground or cushion or chair that you're sitting in. Really letting yourself be supported in this moment. And starting to just feel into your precious body, and without judgment, just really noticing, where are you right now? What is going on right now inside of your own unique system? And do you feel a sense of excitement or a sense of peace, or do you notice there's anxiety in your belly or some apprehension? Or you might notice there's just a lot of thinking going on, and that's fine too. And just bringing a sense of curiosity and non-judgment to your experience. And whatever's present in your experience right now, just using the breath to gently breathe into your body. Just gently breathing into any area that might be feeling a little uh, tense or anxious, or just breathing deeper into a sense of peace. And doing so with a sense of gentleness for yourself, a sense of compassion, an energy of compassion. We've all been through a lot, and our bodies have all been through a lot. So we can come back to them with a sense of gentleness and just being like, oh, whoa, you poor thing. Wow, we've been through a lot together, us in our bodies and living in this world. And so really with that sense of just kind of almost motherly, maternal care and love, we come back to just an awareness of the body and what it's been through, and just breathing in some gentle energy and gentle breath into the body. Starting a little bit at a time, just feeling a little bit safer, just being present in your heart and belly and these tender spots. So Gigi, what do you notice as you slow down and feel into your body? What do you notice? What do you notice in Gigi when you check into your body?
Me? You're asking me?
Yep.
I notice everything slows down as if just time stops. Time and space lose that solidity as when I'm with my eyes open.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I notice I hold a lot of my tension and anxiety in my solar plexus belly area, and when I slow down enough, that's usually what I feel into is this kind of like underlying tension and
Yeah.
when I bring some gentle breath into that area, just even at just maybe at 5% gets more at ease. It starts to soothe a little bit, and I'm able to then kind of connect with my breath and connect with my feet and legs. And I've been meditating for 15 years now, and I still feel into tension and anxiety in my belly. So there's something about patience and humility as well. I'm recognizing that, whoa, this system has been through a lot. Like, how can I bring more nourishment, more love to it? That's such a big part of it.
Yeah. And for me, it's the not needing to make meaning out of what the tension means. That I've
Hmm.
somehow failed
That's right.
because I have tension in my shoulders or in my tummy. And instead of that, there's just this sweet caring for the bodies. So yeah, you're right. When I do close my eyes and I breathe, there is that sense, okay, where is this tension? And being able to bring my breath to the tension without trying to change or fix it or understand why it's there. And that takes such a huge burden off.
Hmm. Hmm. That's right. That's right. And sometimes you also can make connection, right? Which is great too. I mean, I saw hi Emily. Emily's on right now, and just she mentioned her tuning into her body and feeling some upper back pain holding the weight of the world, and really recognizing that there's certain patterns that we hold that we've been probably holding since childhood. And so we can again bring in a sense of compassion, like, whoa, I've carried a lot of people in my life emotionally, and look how that's impacted my shoulders and my system. And again, it takes slowing down to recognize how you've been impacted, and then you start to naturally or organically connect the dots, right? And again, more compassion, more compassion. The more understanding we gain, the easier it is to be compassionate with our experience, right?
Yeah, actually, a story of Emily and I, we ended up at the same retreat at the same time, not knowing each one of us was going to be there. And then we had the same breakthrough at the same time. We came back the next day and we realized that we not wanted, but it was crucial that we told our body that it was safe.
That's right.
That, that the trauma that we experienced during childhood still had its own momentum.
Yeah.
And that even though I have grown up and my mind has grown up and my emotions have grown up,
Hmm.
there is still something in the body that doesn't realize, that hasn't recognized yet that I am safe now.
That's right.
And I literally just tell myself in all sweetness, you are safe whenever just those feelings come up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am safe. There is something that is so incredibly calming about that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just like elemental because our adult minds say, of course I'm safe. What's wrong with me? Why am I so scared? Get it together. Get your shit together. It's like that kind of like harsh
Mm-hmm.
masculine voice comes in, that kind of disconnected that we've taken on from our trauma and from our are wounding. And but the truth is, like you said, the younger self doesn't know that it's safe, and that's the younger self that's in the body, this maybe 5-year-old who was really, scared or wounded in some way. And so it actually requires that kind of like foundational, I am safe, like it's okay, I'm going to be okay. Like it really, you have to come back to a mindset of like, how would you address a 5-year-old, a nephew or niece, or your son or daughter? How would you address a 5-year-old who is scared? It wouldn't be a, first of all, you wouldn't berate them, definitely. And second of all, you wouldn't make it complicated. You come back to a very simple affirmation of like, you're okay. You're okay. I've got you. I love you. Right? It's like, it's so simple. And yet that's what the young self that is still in the body, that's what it needs to hear over and over and over and over again until we feel safe again. Right?
I want to ground this for people and show people how sweet this is, Craig. So for me, like, I'll give you an example, which is really, really interesting. When people get really like hyper excited and it just doesn't seem to make sense in the context of what's happening in the situation, what I realize is that I start to shut down and pull away. So say this, like, there's this woman who's just the way when she comes to talk to you, she's like, ah, and that, that's how she expresses herself, like a lot of energy, a lot of like, and what I recognize is the reason that I shut down and the reason that I pull away from those interactions with those types of women also is because my body doesn't feel safe. It's like this initial, like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you doing this thing where you're like, why can't you just talk to me in a normal tone of voice? Because it doesn't feel, in this young body, in this very young body, still, there's this momentum of, if someone is excited, and this comes up for anxiety too, where anxiety confuses excitement with something bad, right? So in the trauma in my body, I confuse people getting excited with they might get angry.
Right.
They might, lose their shit.
Right.
And my sweet body doesn't know the difference between someone being excited and someone might not be like safe.
That's right.
So now when I'm with someone like that, I just tell myself I'm safe, and I notice everything just, I can be in that situation. I can be with that person just as they are. So that's like, there's like a really subtle thing our body does.
That's right. And you stop confusing the past with the present, right? In the way where we have such a holographic experience, and our past just overlays over our present, right? And until you bring awareness to that and remind yourself, I am here now, I am safe, this is not the past, and then that hologram goes back into, it recedes, and you're back to being your adult self. But it takes that kind of recognition, because in the moment, when we get triggered by something like that, the hologram is so intense, and it's a mind, body, spirit, emotional loop that reinforces itself, right? Until you can be, okay, everything's fine. I'm in 2017 now. I'm safe. I'm with like my friends or my family or my partner who loves me, right? This happens a lot in relationship, where all of a sudden you'll be in an engagement with a partner, and all of a sudden triggering elements will come up. And all of a sudden you're not in 2017 with your partner, you're 6 years old again, and working with or you're in relationship with a parent or with someone else who was not respectful of your space or boundaries, or needed your energy in a way that wasn't appropriate. And so all of a sudden, you're not seeing your partner clearly. It's almost like you enter a trance state, right? You're seeing an overlay of someone else. And so it takes a tremendous amount of awareness to just be like, I'm okay. I am with this my person here, and they love me, and they're not trying to hurt me. And again, coming back to like how you would address a 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid.
Experience with Jeremy where he dropped something and he screamed, and I never felt more safe in this entire world than with Jeremy. And he screamed, he like dropped something and said something like shit or something, and my whole body froze.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not 6 years old anymore. Dad is not yelling about spilled milk anymore. Right? But in the moment, that was my dad was going to get in trouble and something was going to, my whole body just froze.
Yep, exactly.
And I was like, oh, sweetheart. What I would have done before is I would have been like, oh, this is stupid. You know, why am I having this reaction? And what I did instead is like, I took a deep breath and I was with the body, and like Levine, you know, the author on trauma, my whole body shuddered. My whole body shook. And he says that, you know, we deny the shaking of the body, but animals don't. When they go through traumatic experiences, like two ducks fighting, they flap their wings, you know? And yeah, so recognize, be okay with your body freezing is your body trying to tell you, this is where I get stuck. Will you be with me here? Will you breathe with me here? Will you not try to override or make this go a little faster? Right, a trigger, yes.
Yeah, and you know, I see Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy. Jeremy's posting or just post something, and also is sending a lot of really wonderful reactions. So I feel, Jeremy, your presence very strongly, and as you two are a example of a very conscious couple who are working through these things, and Bethany, my partner, and I are doing the same thing where we're not only naming these things and bringing awareness to them, but we're actually figuring out how the other can support us when that body reaction happens, right? When that old trauma response comes up, or that hologram like I'm speaking to, not only can we remind ourselves that we're okay, how can our partner hold us in that space lovingly, with presence? How can they remind us that we're okay? A hand, them putting their hand on our hearts, or them saying some sort of words of safety or affirmation. And so a huge part of this is being vulnerable enough to say, I need some help with this. I need help with this. How can I ask my partner to help, heal, be supportive in this healing process for me? And you two do that very beautifully.
Thank you, Craig. All right, do you feel complete, love?
I do, yeah. So I feel complete. This has been wonderful, and just a couple of announcements. Gigi and I are really excited to share an upcoming course with you guys. We're doing a 6-week immersive online course called Deconstructing Awakening, and it's going to be an amazing course where we meet digitally as a group, virtually as a group every week, and then there's going to be weekly recorded talks, guided meditation, soul journey. We're going to bring in the meditation and the Eastern teachings and shamanistic ritual and ceremony, and it's just a really beautiful, integrative and holistic deep dive into the teachings of Urban Awakening. And we're going to be talking about a lot of this stuff, like let's get real with what it means to be a spiritual being in this world, right? Not what the old model is, but this new model of living this paradox of our deep eternal nature, and also our beautiful alive human. And I really feel like this course, I'm so proud of us for really capturing the essence of that paradox. And so, yeah, we're going to be able, the website's launching next week, and there'll be a lot more information on our Facebook page soon regarding that. And then we also have an event on the same topic, Deconstructing Awakening, at the center this coming Tuesday. And that's going to be a really beautiful event too. And we're going to talk a lot more about these subjects and also talk about our online course. So we're very excited about both of these offerings for the community.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are here to deconstruct the awakening process, to dispel these myths, so that instead of a spiritual journey taking 15 to 20 years, it takes much less than that, much less heartache, much less spinning.
Yeah, confusion. Yeah.
Thank you, Craig. I love doing this with you.
Yeah, I love you too. Thank you for bringing me on, and thank you for everybody who joined and all your sweet comments. And it's so special to be in an interactive dialogue with this community. So thank you all.
Bye, love.
Okay, have fun in Sedona. Bye. Okay.